When did you take the decision to build a team outside of South Africa focusing on global companies, and why Singapore?
So often we governed and moved by regulation.
Right.
So we are allowed to take 15% and then 20% offshore, which enabled FIT to create. We created the Foord International Trust, that is, and that's an asset allocation fund rather than an equity fund, because we believe asset allocation is the right way to go, as I described earlier. And asset allocation needs to be done by the portfolio manager, not by the end client or the people in the food chain in between. And then in SA we were allowed to invest 25% offshore. That created a regulatory problem, because CIS funds are only allowed to invest 20% in one other CIS fund.
Right.
So now we couldn't put more than 20% into the Foord International Trust, which left us with the 5%. How were we going to do that? We had various choices of doing that. Again, let somebody else manage our investors' money, or rather take on and manage the risk ourselves and do it. Simple product, global equity fund became the choice, so that we could diversify more than just within the Foord International Trust. So we set up in Singapore because it's like the Switzerland of the East. It's got English law, and you want your money in a place that's safe. And Singapore is safe because it's managed properly, government balances its budget, it has a surplus. Now they've been investing the surplus so well that the income from the surplus is now bigger than the budget. Compare that to other countries where the interest on the debt is a major portion of the budget. What's interesting is that the government pension fund, the sovereign wealth fund, they're so big, it invests globally, and a lot of companies come and report to them. And we get access to those CEOs because they're in Singapore and they want to speak to other global managers. And a lot of managers are just sector managers, and they're managing Asian equities in Singapore. So there's a shortage of global managers to see these chief executives of the major global companies. And we get to see companies that we wouldn't get to see in London or New York on a one-on-one basis. So we didn't plan that at the time. It's a huge advantage for us to be able to have one-on-one meetings with the top companies in the world, which we get in Singapore. It's been good.
You built, again, a strong team up in Singapore, a very independently minded, unique characters with different perspectives given their background.
It is, and they come from different parts of the world. They come from different backgrounds of education. That's all important. It goes back to that diversity element again. But understand this, our team has been very stable. I think in the industry, we've got the most stable team in SA. We're building up stability there. But stability doesn't mean it's the same people all the time. There needs to be attrition from time to time. Some people do get on and fall out of the game. It's a Darwinian system we're in. So there will be change. There are changes within our team, particularly within the analysts. Analysts move on. It's quite a mobile industry. It happens in all the other asset management houses, and it's no exception at Foord. The analysts will make the grade or move on or have some other attraction. But generally, we take a long-term view on our people, and that's worked for us. But that doesn't mean that we won't get some changes from time to time within the analyst team.